I'm Hayden Johnson, vocalist of Coffin Rot. You've been listening to the DIEnecology podcast.
Do you ever fantasize about being killed? About all the different ways of dying?
Is it to awaken and feel the passing of time? Or is it the failing beat of your own heart?
They learned parts of a dismembered female body had been found in a remote corner of San Bernardino County. Why was her skull left outside a local restaurant? And where is the rest of her body?
Death is only the beginning.
Corey Gorechrist, DIEnecology podcast. I'm your DIEnecologist. Today, we have a awesome-ass guest. We have Hayden Johnson of Coffin Rot. Their new album, Dreams of the Disturbed, just dropped on Maggot Stomp, so definitely, if you haven't heard it yet, go check that out. I'll put links in the description below as well. And Hayden, how's it going for you, man?
It's going great. People seem to be enjoying the record so far, and we're real excited about it. Glad to see that it's finally released.
Yeah. Yes, first full length since 2019. You guys put out a Monument to the Dead.
Yeah.
Did some splits. I like the what was it? Produced a Visceral Sludge. You did that Troops of Doom cover. That was fucking sick.
Thanks.
Yeah. I like, and I'm glad about that they finally re-recorded Schizophrenia and put it out like the what Cavalera did. I thought that was dope. Did you like that?
Yeah, all of those re-recordings are actually really enjoyable.
Yeah,
and
Bestial was nice. Morbid Visions.
Yeah, and those two touring on that shit is really great.
Yeah. I'm hoping to catch that. I did see them when they first started doing the, just kind of, the mix of different stuff. But then when I went to Maryland Death Fest, they played, it was just Beneath the Remains, and then they did some Rise shit. And yeah, it was dope.
Yeah.
I think
I
they
was
played
there.
Troops also. You went to that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Did you guys play that year?
No,
Okay.
we unfortunately have not been asked to play Maryland Death Fest.
Yeah, those guys are weird about Maggot Stomp shit or like bands like that. I don't understand that. It's kind of like I've talked to some bands before about it. I think they're a little more elitist when it comes to some of that stuff, which, it's whatever. It's their festival. I get it. But it would be nice. I mean, bands like Coffin Rot and other bands are really pushing death metal to a different level. Taking a lot of different styles and turning it into something that a lot of people really like, including myself. So hopefully they ease up on that, because it would be cool to see you guys at something like that. But either way, at least as a fan, you got to check it out and to go. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, that year was super fun.
Yeah. I almost died in that pit watching them. So I was like close to where that pole was, and like I was getting like pushed up against it. It's like, fuck.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, my buddy ate shit during Cancer set on the pavement. He was like, "Hold my drink, I'm getting in the pit." And like 2 minutes later, his knee was all fucked up, and he's like, I got laid out." So shout out to Andy.
Hell yeah. Yeah, Cancer is really good too. I saw them whenever they first, I think that was my first Maryland Death Fest, was whenever they first reunited and toured. They played that Maryland Death Fest show, and they played, I think, a couple more times since then, and they're playing next year also. So those guys are sick. Anytime, I'd love to see them. So very underrated death metal band for sure. But let's talk about Coffin Rot. Dreams of the Disturbed. I guess talk a little bit about the album. I know you said it was a long wait period till you can get this release, so I guess talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I mean, COVID obviously kind of fucked everybody over, but
yeah, For
I
sure.
mean, during that time, we did spend a lot of time writing songs, and then we added Johnny into the fold. And by the time we added Johnny, we had I'd say the record was probably about 80% done.
Yeah, yeah.
And then um, we went into the studio on we started recording on Black Friday of 2022.
Oh wow.
And with um because originally Charlie Corrin, he was supposed to do the production, and with him doing Incantation and Morbid Angel at the time,
Yeah,
he was just too busy. So then that's how Damien got involved, and he had touring commitments and things like that too. So
for
uh
sure. Yeah.
we didn't get the finished masters until January of this
Oh
year.
shit. Yeah.
So yeah, it was just a little over a year just for the actual production of the record itself. And then of course, vinyl
Right.
delay times and all that is, yeah, it slowed this process down a lot, but what can you do?
Well, hey, it's out. It fucking rips. I mean, been waiting a while for this to come out. Been stoked about it, and think everyone else can agree that it definitely delivered. Man, it's got some killer shit.
We appreciate it.
Yeah. When are you friends with Jonathan? Like, how did you guys get in touch with him?
We met him through Charlie. Those two are like inseparable. Um, and he had kind of, he told us a long time ago, I shit, probably around the time of the first album, that he thought we were a cool band, and you know he would potentially be interested in playing guitar for us. And
It's awesome.
so then we were asking him about it, and every time it got brought up, he was just busy doing either ritual necromancy or ascended
Yeah.
dead, or insert the other 11 bands that
Blood
do.
soaked decrepsy, like,
And
he's a
then
madman.
yeah, and then just randomly one day on Instagram, he posted an Instagram story of a picture of him playing guitar, and it was like, "Hey, if any bands need guitar, hit me up." And we are like, "Dude, come on!"
Yeah.
And he's like, "All right, let's do it."
Hell yeah.
So yeah, it was just as simple as a Instagram message, and it's been a good time ever since.
Yeah, dude. So the shit's killer. Do you guys have any shows coming up? You got, to promote the record? You just chilling right now? What's the plans for the album going forward?
The next show we have locally is it's called Metal Mania Wrestling. So they
That's
do
awesome.
yeah, they have two bands play, and then they have a bunch of wrestlers. So we're gonna do that. And then November 30th, we are playing in LA for the first time with Sadistic Intent and Massacre,
Ooh,
which,
that's
which
killer.
is, yeah, so
It's got some
very excited
legends.
for that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, I've seen Massacre a couple times and they're always sick. Cam is quite the dude.
Yeah, he seems like an interesting character.
Very outspoken, we'll say that, but I don't hate it at all. I think he's hilarious.
Yeah, that dude's Instagram is it's gold.
Yeah, huge horror fan, huge like Godzilla nerd. Um, super knowledgeable about metal. I mean, he's an OG. He's a little too you know, open about some things where a lot of people wouldn't be, but that's what I like about him. I think it's in this day and age, people don't really hold back, but he never really has. He's always been
Yeah.
like,
He's earned the right to say whatever the hell he wants.
that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, come on. He doesn't hold it's death metal. He's old school. He's gonna say what he wants to say. Um, like I
I
remember one
appreciate it.
time, like the early when I did my other podcast like years ago, we'd been friends on Facebook for a while, interacted here and there, but I was like, hey, would you want to come on my podcast sometime? And then he was just like, he was like, "Are you asking me or telling me?" And I was like, I was asking. It was a question, but never mind. I don't want to get on your bad side, dude. I like Massacre and your old death shit and all that, you know. Um, we're good, dog. Like, so that was kind of funny, but I think he was just being a, you know, intimidating. I don't know, but yeah, Massacre rules. That's really awesome. You guys are opening in that show. That's crazy.
Yeah, big influences on us. So
Yeah,
getting that email,
yeah,
that offer for that show was like, holy fuck.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, the one time that I saw Sadistic Intent was like, this is the best goddamn death metal band I've ever seen live.
Yeah, yeah, they fucking
I
rip.
I can't wait to see those guys again.
Yeah. I don't remember when I've seen them. I've seen them before. I don't think it was Maryland either. I think it was on a tour I saw, but uh yeah, they they absolutely rip live for sure. They're another criminally underrated band in my opinion.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
don't get talked about enough. They're just brutal as fuck. Yeah. Well, the other portion we talk about on here is because this is DIEnecology, is we talk about death itself, you know, and how it relates or influences us, you know, as death metal artists or fans or what have you. Um, so I try to really just, you know, get to know people on that side. Like, what is your perspective on death, or you know, why were you drawn to it? You know, a lot of people go to horror movies. Like that's what inspired me to write about morbid shit. You know, because you know, none of us are really that fucked up in the head. We just kind of are the kinds of people that are more drawn to these themes, and we can actually interpret them in certain ways, you know, provide the imagery. Um, so really what I'm asking is, you know, whatever perspective you have or experiences with death or something that really, you know, that you are comfortable talking about, you know, whatever you want to talk about really, but just kind of talk about what makes you cool with writing about death and shit.
Yeah, I mean, obviously is like, the guy that writes lyrics for a death metal band, you kind of
Yeah,
got to be comfortable, at least to an extent, writing about that kind of stuff.
exactly.
Um, and literally every single one of our songs, except for one, somebody's getting killed or somebody's getting eaten or somebody's eating themselves.
Hell yeah.
Um, um, but yeah, I was always been drawn to horror movies. More so like the really old stuff, the more mild kind of like atmospheric, like Universal
Oh yeah,
monsters
like the
the
Hammer
movies.
films, stuff like that.
Yeah, the Hammer film,
Yeah, that's good shit.
all of like the Vincent Price, like Edgar Allan Poe movies.
Yeah.
Like our song "Miasma of Barbarity" is about the Pit and the Pendulum movie.
Oh, it's so good. It's one of my favorite
Um,
ones.
it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good, and nobody ever talks about it.
It's amazing. I like most of his like well, I mean, he doesn't have a bad one, but you know, like Mask of the Red Death is probably my favorite one.
It's excellent.
Yeah, it's
That's
so
a
good. And
great
Witchfinder
choice.
General, of course, that's a good one.
Yep.
Just because of that character itself, you know. And yeah, you know, I try to point people in that direction all the time, like, oh, I don't like these movies, they're old. It's like, dude, if you don't like Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing movies, like get the fuck out of
Dude,
here.
yeah.
Like
Like
that
like
is good
there's
shit.
like those the 80s like slasher movies, like some of them are cool, but like I
Yeah.
feel like I feel like a weenie saying it, but like sometimes the excessive gore and stuff is like a little bit much.
Yeah.
It I have a hard time seeing the merit of like movies that are just it's all about the gore.
Sure, yeah.
The content of the movie
Yeah,
is,
like torture porn shit, you know.
yeah, I mean,
Which that stuff, even for me, you know, I'm Corey Gorechrist or whatever, but you know, I still have like I want it to be creative, you know. I don't just want to like I want to be entertained still. I just don't want to see somebody's like you know, ball sack getting ripped off, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like unless there's a story behind it, but it's always like
yeah,
just a bunch of people like scenes of people in a room strapped to a chair getting fucking tortured like that. You know, that's not for me.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I'll write about it, but I don't want to watch it happen.
yeah, I feel
You
that.
know, I'll
And
happily write
I,
about it.
I love slasher movies, but yeah, it depends. I like the old shit. Um, but it has to be creative, it's like you go in that tool shed, you better find some shit I haven't already seen and use that. But it doesn't
Yeah,
have to be really excessive. Like, have you watched that movie In a Violent Nature?
I haven't.
It's
I've heard it's cool though.
I wasn't a fan of it, and I wanted to
Oh,
be. I'm not gonna sway your opinion. This is my opinion, but and I know a lot of people that like that movie and shit on me because I hated it. Um, but so basically, my impression of it was, and I'm not gonna spoil anything either. Um, I thought it was gonna be like a first person view of the killer doing his thing, kind of like Halloween or something like the old school shit. But it was like a third person view, and he's like a Jason Voorhees character, so he's slow as shit, and he's just like walking around like in the movie, and there's like other characters obviously, and it's like normal, but it's just I don't know. And it was one of those movies where the gore was just excessive. Like they drew out the kills, like they took so long, and like I was like, it's not effective if it takes like 4 minutes for this kill to end.
yeah.
I'm more into like the quick gore, like cut off screen. You kind of try to imagine what just happened, and then the whoever the antagonist is, when she finally realizes all her friends are gone, she's like, where the fuck did everyone go? Then you start finding the bodies and shit. And to me, that's more effective. Like, because then you're like, we don't know what happened to him. And
Well,
then
yeah,
you know you find their mangled body, on a tree stump or some shit. And you're like, oh my god, that's horrific. And it's quick, it's effective, it gives you a sense of imagination, and also puts you in the character's position where you're like, I don't know what's happening to these people, really. I mean, I know they're dying, but I don't know what's happening. And
yeah,
um,
yeah. A lot of times the scariest thing in a movie is like the stuff that you don't see.
exactly, yeah.
Where like that's why Jaws is so
Oh, that's my
effective
first
and
thought was Jaws. Yeah,
terrifying.
my
Like
God, it's so good.
you see the shark like two fucking times. The movie's horrifying.
Yeah, that's why
Like
Alien was effective too.
I fucking hate swimming, and it's because I watched Jaws when I was like 7 years old.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
Jaws would not be as scary of a movie if you saw the shark the whole time eating people. It'd just be cheesy,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know.
The
Yeah,
reveal of it, like this shark is fucking massive.
yeah, gotta
Yeah,
need a
it's
bigger boat.
yeah. So I wasn't a fan of it. I wish they would have made the camera itself like part of the story, like maybe somebody else was with him filming it, even though that'd be like, why would he hire a camera guy? Because he's like some dead like mongoloid dude. But um still they could have maybe worked that out because otherwise the camera doesn't make sense following him around. But it's literally just him following around while he's like trudging through the woods like really loud, so like people can't hear him walking towards them in the grass. Like I don't know. I wasn't a fan of that. Just watching a giant killer oaf like walk around most of the movie. And someone told me that like it's literally just him walking around most of the movie. I was like, yeah, but if it was first person view, that would have been kind of cool. But I mean, he's just walking around. It's ridiculous. But go watch it for yourself. You might like it. I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm not selling you on the negatives of it because there was some cool little kills in it, but had a good like I appreciate the different approach to doing it. And I think if more films kind of picked up on that, they can like add some really cool elements to the slasher genre that's like long needed to happen. But other than that, I mean, yeah, it's on Shudder. You can watch it on there or rip it off the internet, whatever you do. But it's I would watch it one time and then not watch it again, even if I liked it. Probably it's one of those movies, but yeah, wasn't a fan, but watch it for yourself for sure. Um, have you seen any like newer horror movies you like?
Man, I'm really, really super picky about modern horror movies.
I am too, yeah, for sure.
I think the last like really surprisingly excellent movie that I watched was Barbarian.
Yeah, that movie was very interesting. Didn't like the end too much, but I love that it was just something different, you know. And it was
Yeah,
fucking creepy for a while because it was like everybody rents an Airbnb, and now I kind of don't want to anymore.
yeah, because you never know what the hell's underneath it. But
If I see more than like five cabinets or doors, I'm out of there. It's like, nah, we're not doing this.
I think that's a good policy. That's smart.
Yeah, and there's all these things after that movie came out where people actually, because those are like real kind of houses that have that shit, like back in the day. So there was
Yeah,
people on TikTok and all that shit, and they were like, "Look, this is like barbarian. There's like all these like little doors and shit." And it's like, no, no, thank you. You get out of there, dude. Get out of there. But yeah, I like that film until the last like 30 minutes, but I didn't hate the film or the last bit of it. It was just kind of like it was very weird, you know, like I don't know, the whole mommy shit. I was just couldn't really fully get on board with all that, but it was disturbing for sure in a good way. Um, definitely sticks with you, and that's important, you know, for movies because
yeah,
I'm ADHD as shit, so like you need to really sell me on a film and like make me remember things. So like that film definitely I can remember every part of that movie. Um,
yeah. And then I think I mean, within the last couple of years, I think the only other one that really has stuck with me is was Thanksgiving that
yeah, that one
Eli
was
Roth.
sick. Yeah.
Yeah, like it was super cheesy,
Yep.
but it was really fun. It was a super fun watch. Serving up the stepmom for Thanksgiving dinner.
That
Like,
was
fuck,
badass.
this is like a Coffin Rot song.
Yeah, yeah, coming to life. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's how you do like a callback, like a throwback horror, like a slasher film. Um, that's probably Eli Roth's best film, honestly. Um, Controversially, I'll say, hot take, but yeah, that film was super good and
yeah.
very, very good slasher movie.
I loved that movie. I thought it was great. My fiance hated it, but I really like it.
Take it she's not into horror movies too much.
No,
Yeah, that's
no,
kind of
not
good.
not at all. Yeah,
I love showing people horror movies that hate them. And they're just like, why do you watch this shit? Like, I honestly don't know. That's why I'm doing this podcast, try to figure shit like this out. Like to reflect, like, why do we like this stuff, you know? Um, like I watched Exorcist when I was like 5. My mom worked 2 jobs. She worked night shifts, so I'd stay up all night and watch horror movies. That whatever just came on TV. I kind of went from there. I enjoyed it. I don't know why to this day.
I mean
Um,
that feeling of being uncomfortable and unsafe.
yeah.
I think it's good for you.
Yeah, it's
You
natural
know,
for sure.
feel comfortable all the time. I
Yeah.
don't think that's probably very good for you.
You can't really grow that way if you don't come out of your comfort zone and try to just be vulnerable, because that being vulnerable leads you to so many other opportunities and like just experiences that you never thought you'd have. And yeah, it helps you grow to like get out of the world or get out of your own head and be like, I'm gonna do something different or I'm gonna scare the shit out of myself, make me it's a real thing, so like you need that kind of feeling even though it kind of sucks, but there's like a very fun aspect to it, I think, like to scare yourself a little,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, for sure.
who doesn't like going on a roller coaster? Some people just get hard over that. I don't. I'm fucking terrified of them, but I'll do it and scare the shit out of myself and then feel kind of good after. Be like, that's the only roller coaster I'm doing today. I'm wore out. It wears my nerves out when I do that shit. But
Yeah,
uh,
I love them, but I'm too fat to ride them now. Outgrew the roller coasters.
yeah, I think that's a good tactic because then I don't have to look like a giant pussy. I can just be like, hey, dude, I'm actually too fat now to ride roller coasters, so sorry.
Yep, I'm just a fucking fat
I'll
lard. I
I'll
can't
be
ride.
at the turkey leg stand
Yeah,
with
good
my giant fucking lemonade.
for.
But yeah, that's I do love horror. I just like violent shit, but I'm not a violent person. I'm like the exact opposite. And I think, most people in death metal are like they're not like
Oh
violent
yeah, for
people,
sure.
but the I think people are starting to get that, but some people just don't have a concept of metal at all. They just don't know what to think or really think too much of it, other than like these people who talk about rape and death and all this stuff. It's like, I mean, that shit's real, but I think writing it, um, yeah, it takes a good understanding of that kind of content to write about it effectively, but it's not like things we actually want to do. It's just things that, like you said, we've seen in horror films or um, maybe even like comic books or TV. It's all over TV and media. It's like everywhere. So it's something that's important to interpret and to imagine. I think it's healthy to talk about it and
Yeah, for sure.
like slaughtered like swine. I mean that happens all the time, but you
That's
can interpret that in many ways.
yeah, that one's based on true events.
Oh shit.
That definitely real. Yeah, that's uh Willie Picton, the pig farmer from
Hmm.
the Vancouver, Canada area.
Okay.
Yeah, that song's about him processing his victims through the farm's
Oh
meat
my god.
processing plant. Yeah.
Holy shit. That was real?
Yeah, that guy, yeah, he
Whoa. I need to get on
there's
this story.
yeah, there's a lot of speculation about how many people he killed, but he was recorded by an undercover cop in his cell, and he said
Yeah.
that he got sloppy trying to get to the big 5-0 and that he was one away. So
Wow.
at the end of the song, I say my killing sprees cut short, stopped at 49.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Like I said, don't support the guy, but when you interpret it through music and you just make it, you know, uh, it's that's a badass line. Not gonna lie. That's sick as
Yeah,
shit.
and then in January we headlined a festival in Vancouver,
Yeah.
and on the way up there, we had marketed the thing as, we're going to play the whole album front to back.
Hell yeah.
Um, and on the way up there, I was like, that first song like is a real story to this area,
Yeah.
and that really wasn't that long ago. It was like a little over 20 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, yeah. I'm like, should I make mention of this or should we play it? And we kind of talked about it, and I was like, let's embrace it. I'll tell them. So we got up on stage, and I was like, hey, this next song's about a guy from your neck of the woods. And, I introed the song, and everybody was like, yeah.
Fuck yeah. Yeah,
So,
I would have gone all out, bring up fucking pig masks on and shit. That would have been ridiculous.
yeah, it just
Uh,
would have been my luck. Some guy in the crowd was like, but my mom was they. Yeah.
oh yeah. Fuck.
That would have been my luck.
Yeah. And get the actual like son of the victim out there. That'd be so yeah. Just be like, come on, man. It's been 20 years, dude. It's like,
I,
but I
I,
grew up, never had my mom.
I just got over this shit.
I'm still in
You had
therapy.
you had to come all the way up here and bring it up.
It's a
Fucking
thing too to
asshole.
wonder like what stuff bands have covered and just done that people actually know that are victims of maybe some of these themes or whatever. Hopefully they just stay away from it. I would feel like they would. Um,
Yeah, I've had people ask me about that before. They're like, what would you say to that person? It's like, sorry,
yeah,
like
I
sorry
didn't
that
do it.
that like sorry that happened to you guys. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I didn't do it. Just interesting subject matter.
Yeah, something that needs to be. I mean, do you want no one to just talk about it at all?
And I mean, I write songs about cannibalism often. So I
Yeah,
mean, if there's cases of real life cannibalism, I should probably
yeah,
make mention of it.
sure. With all the true crime nerds on the internet, I mean, they talk about it.
Yep, guilty
And
as charged.
they get millions of views on it and live off of that. And it's not what people don't understand about death metal, at least for the most part, is it's not really about glorifying any of it. We're just commentating on it. We're expressing it very graphically and vividly sometimes, and it's not for everybody, and But it's no different than watching or listening to a true crime podcast or unsolved mysteries or something, I have in the intro of this podcast, there's a clip from Unsolved Mysteries, probably my favorite one, where he's just like Robert Stack is like, he found her head on top of the trash can outside of a McDonald's. I'm like, what happened to the rest of her body? That shit, that's a badass soundbite.
It
Like,
is.
and that's the shit I was watching when I was like 8 years old. Like it's fucked up. And like, so putting that into extreme music and, you know, it's just another form of communicating it, I guess. And
Yeah.
just putting it out there, but it's also it takes certain kind of people to be tapped into that and do it effectively for sure. And not to say there's not some people that are in bands that really are fucking crazy and write about this stuff, but I think that's more of a gore grind thing or a like porno grind. I think those people are a little crazy. But I'll still listen to some of that shit too. If it's good, it's good. Um, so yeah, hopefully it's just interesting, I think about all the time, like, why do I like this shit to a point where I can laugh at it when I see it? Like, not real death, like horror movie stuff. Um, Seeing the real shit's fucking horrifying, but I think it's something people should pay attention to at least a little bit because, it's real, it's out there. Um, don't go looking for the crazy shit because that's not a good time either. I grew up with all those like gore websites. I mean, I saw that shit way too young, and it's not a fun time. It's very disturbing. Um,
Yeah, I used to come home to my old roommate. Shout out to Andy again. Come home to Andy, and he'd have like, playing his fucking leprosy tape while watching Faces of Death in the living room, like eating a
Damn.
fucking Subway sandwich. Like, dude, come watch Faces of Death with me. And like, dude, are you psychotic?
He's just
Like,
vibing.
he's like, I have it muted, just listening to Death, eating a sandwich.
I'm making
Like,
a music video out of it.
dude, you're a fucking lunatic. Like, I am not participating in this.
Apparently, I think Faces of Death actually was like not real, like it's staged. But the only thing that was real in it, to my understanding, is like the autopsy shit. There's like actual like surgical, like like autopsy footage and shit like that
Yeah.
there. I think that's the only thing that was actually real in it. There might have been a couple other things. I think some of the animal videos were real, but I'm not sure. And that was the fucked up part for me. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, that would be really nice to watch while you're trying to eat a sandwich.
Yeah, I don't. I can't sit here and say I haven't done it, but not Faces of Death. Cannibal
Nothing like
Holocaust is a good one. Yeah,
nothing like
just
a meatball sub and Faces of Death.
or Sloppy Joe.
Yep.
Some like sloppy brisket. You get just something really messy. Put you in
Yeah.
the mood for some
Chili.
Faces of Death. Oh, chili's great.
Chili watching gore flicks would be I think I'd have to call the cops.
Yeah. Yeah. You
As a
walk in, you're just
psycho,
like, nope, we're not doing
get him
this.
out of here.
Oh shit. Well, shout out to Andy for sure. That's hilarious. He's a real one for sure. But yeah, like I said, the album's fucking killer. I'm glad it's out. I'm glad you guys so far having a good reception and everything.
Yeah, I think I've only seen one negative review, and then that guy, I don't know, people must have bullied him or something, and he deleted it.
What was the negative review?
Yeah, he basically was just saying that um he said vocals were lackluster and the solos were generic and unimpressive, and the guitar sounded sloppy and the production is whatever. And then I actually didn't even end up getting to finish reading the whole interview before like the web page went down, and then it went back up. Yeah,
Oh
and then
man.
then there was another one this morning that popped up. The gist of the review was that the record is bad except for Brandon's bass playing. And then at the end of the review, he's like, "The record is a fun listen to." And it's like, so what is it? Is it fun or is it bad or?
I think you have
You think
mixed opinions, man. You need to listen to it a couple more
you think
times.
Brandon's cute or something like that? What's going on?
It's an ex-girlfriend or something. It's got to
Yeah,
be trying
yeah,
to troll you guys.
yeah. His wife might have done it. We don't know. Your band sucks, but I think you're cool.
Yeah. The first review, it's like, do you only listen to like Rest in Peace? Like, what are they supposed to sound like? I don't get it.
Yeah, and then there was it made me laugh. It was a good review. The guy was really nice. I can't remember what his name was, but he had all complimentary things to say. But then at the end, he goes, "Yeah, my only real complaint is that at times they lean a little bit too much into the old school death metal trope. It's like that's
That's a bad thing.
that's what we do.
I
Like
know. Have you ever heard
we don't
Coffin
do
Rot?
like the hardcore stuff. We don't like that's what we do. So like, okay. Like, thank you.
I wish they would do like, like breakdowns and I need to be able to spin kick to their music.
Yeah, I need
Like you still
clean
can, dude.
vocals.
Yeah, I need some ambient uh, transitions and more arpeggios and
Yep,
I just need
dubstep.
some pretty. I like pretty in my death metal, It's like,
So yeah,
well,
so I mean, I almost took that as a compliment.
right.
Well,
Yeah.
we're doing old school death metal too much. All right, okay. Now we're
Fuck
fucking
yeah.
awesome.
Well, get ready for the next album because we're gonna do even more.
Yeah,
Hell yeah. Well, yeah, man, it's great. It's been great talking to you. I know we're running out of time here. I only have the free version for now of they make you pay for the pro shit. You have to cut you off at 45 minutes. But
ah,
also want to say I have my grandfather that I ever met, his name was Hayden Johnson. So
oh
um
wow,
we may be related in a weird way, even though, yeah, he actually helped. He was an architect and he was one of the designers, one of the many designers of the Verrazano Bridge in New York and the World Trade Center. So yeah.
well, damn,
Yeah,
that is an interesting coinky dink.
I know. R.I.P. The Twin Towers.
Yeah, R.I.P. World Trade Center.
It just happened too. Yeah, it's the month of
Yep, never forget.
9/11 awareness month, I guess, because they keep talking about it. It was like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. But yeah, yeah, it's been awesome talking to you. I'm happy you guys got this record out. Just came out, folks. Maggot Stomp, Dreams of the Disturbed. Go pick it up. Go check it out. Check them out. The show, and hopefully, you guys come down to Knoxville, Tennessee, or surrounding areas sometime. We'd love to see you guys play.
Yeah, we're hoping to do some touring here in 2025. So
Fuck yeah.
hopefully
Well,
we'll be heading out that way.
awesome, man. Yeah, I know plenty of bookers who would love to get you over here. So hopefully we'll work something out. But yeah, this has been awesome. And congrats
Yeah,
on
thanks for
the
having me.
album. Of course, man, anytime.